Hey, what's up everybody, and welcome back to another episode of News Dose, where I give you all of the latest gaming news. And we talked about a new Nintendo Switch releasing in 2021 yesterday, and well, we got another report from a very well-respected news outlet that does back up this claim. And well, it's sounding like a nice upgrade over the current Nintendo Switch. And hey, this does include some new games, so stick around because we will dive into that. Also, Xbox's All-Star Studio, The Initiative, is starting to gear up for what looks to be a big AAA game. So stay tuned for that as well, but first let's go over some of the quick news, starting off with Gamescom. Gamescom will be taking place on August 27th through the 30th, and things are really starting to take shape here. On Thursday, we will get another gameplay reveal of the highly anticipated PlayStation 5 exclusive, Ratchet & Clank Rift Apart. This was revealed by Jeff Keighley on Twitter, and he says that it will be an extended, uncut demo of what we saw at the PlayStation 5 reveal. And you know, honestly, we haven't really seen much from the PlayStation 5 recently, so that is very exciting, and maybe we find out more about that girl Ratchet. Who exactly is she, and what kind of role does she play in Rift Apart? So I think PlayStation fans certainly have something to look forward to coming this Thursday. Yeah, this will be happening in just 2 short days from now, and hey, maybe we even get a few big surprises here. No guarantee there, but one thing I'm actually really excited about is the Gamescom Awesome Indie Showcase. So on August 29th, they will be premiering some of the more exciting indie games coming out, and we actually already have one game revealed, Wonder Boy, Asha, and Monster World. Yeah, that's right, there is a new Wonder Boy coming out, and we're going to get the first gameplay reveal at this awesome indie showcase. So I know there hasn't been a lot of buzz surrounding this year's Gamescom, but it looks like it might be worth tuning in, and there are several big publishers there, including Xbox, Sega, EA, Ubisoft, Activision, Bethesda, and really just about everybody. So there could be some big surprise announcements here. So definitely keep an eye out for Gamescom this week, and as always, I will keep you up to date with what's happening there. Moving on though, we did get a new release date for one of my more anticipated games this year, Yakuza Like a Dragon, aka Yakuza 7. It does now have an official release date for November 13th, which is actually a very interesting release date, and I'm going to explain why. So we have known for a while now that Yakuza 7 will be coming to the PlayStation 4, Xbox One, PC, and the Xbox Series X. It will be available on PlayStation 5 at a later date, which is kind of odd considering Yakuza has primarily been a PlayStation franchise until this year when Xbox got Sega to release several Yakuza games into Xbox Game Pass. Sega must be having some success with Xbox Game Pass, or Xbox in general. They do seem very buddy-buddy here recently, so I don't think this is too surprising. The reason this release date is so intriguing though is because the Xbox Series X has an undefined release date for November, so could Yakuza 7 be a launch title for the Xbox Series X on November 13th? At the very least, we should be able to narrow down the release date for the Series X. It most likely would be between November 1st and the 13th. Rumors before were pointing at a November 5th or 6th release date for the Series X because of those leaked Xbox Series S controllers revealed that the warranty expires for those on November 5th of 2021. So you know those warranties do usually last either 6 months to a year. So maybe the Series X will release on November 6th, and then a week later you'll get Yakuza 7, which is a big launch title. I can honestly say that Yakuza has been one of the best franchises of this generation, especially if you like story-driven games, so this is a good launch game for the Xbox Series X. Now we also have an update on the Epic vs. Apple saga. If you've been following this or this channel, you should know by this point that Apple did ban Fortnite from iOS devices. And after Epic tried to sue Apple, Apple then retaliated by removing Epic tools from iOS devices, which includes Unreal Engine. Yeah, this whole thing is a big mess by this point, and because of Unreal Engine is used by so many developers across the industry, this would majorly impact a lot of developers going forward. Well, Epic did try to block Apple from doing this, and I'm happy to say that they were successful. The judge posted a ruling today saying that Apple cannot block Unreal Engine from iOS devices. However, Fortnite will remain banned. And really that is a fair ruling, and the problem still remains. Epic did break the terms of service with Apple, and I'm not really sure what their endgame here was. I mean, I get it. Epic doesn't like that Apple takes a 30% cut of all game transactions, but that is the industry standard. Xbox, PlayStation, Nintendo, and Valve all takes the same 30% cut, so I'm not really sure why Epic specifically targeted Apple, but it is what it is. I do feel bad for fans of Fortnite on Apple devices, but it looks like Fortnite will not be playable on iOS devices for the foreseeable future, unless they can come to some kind of an agreement. I'm just happy that no other developer is going to have to suffer because of these two huge companies are going back and forth. Now we do have a nice little update for Fall Guys that you may like. Obviously, Fall Guys has turned out to be a mega surprise hit out of nowhere on both the PlayStation 4 and Steam. The last update that I had heard was that it was around 9 million players across both platforms, and I guarantee that has went way up since then, and really this is just 2 platforms. Fans are still anxiously awaiting news for Fall Guys to release on other platforms, and the developers themselves have expressed interest in doing just that. Well, I do have some good news here because Fall Guys will be heading to mobile devices in China, and a Nintendo Switch SDK has been spotted in the Steam version. So what this means is that Mediatonic has likely been tinkering with a Switch version, which honestly is kind of perfect. If you think about it, Fall Guys has some similarities with Mario Party, or at least with the minigames, so I do think Fall Guys would do exceptionally well on the Switch. I mean, it's not like Nintendo Switch Online costs that much either, and then there is also the fact that there is going to be a mobile version, though it has only been announced for China so far. With that said, if it's going to China, there is a big possibility that Fall Guys will eventually make its way to mobile devices throughout the rest of the world. Unfortunately, there hasn't been any mention of Xbox specifically just yet, but I'm willing to bet when all is said and done, Fall Guys, with the amount of success it's had, it will come to pretty much every mainstream device. So it really is just a matter of when rather than if. So just be patient, and whatever platform you prefer, I'm sure you will eventually get to play Fall Guys. Speaking of Xbox though, they have made several big acquisitions over the last couple years. They've picked up big studios such as Playground Games, Obsidian Entertainment, Undead Labs, among several others. But one of the most exciting new studios was not acquired. Instead, it's their homegrown studio with all-star talent, The Initiative. And this is something that Xbox hasn't been getting enough credit for here recently, but they have actually been growing all of their studios rather rapidly within the last couple of years. As an example, Playground Games has an entirely new studio that is building a new Fable game alongside Forza Horizon. Obsidian Entertainment has been growing to the point that they can now work on 3 games at once, and Rare is in the same situation. Not only do they continue to work on Sea of Thieves, but they're also working on a new IP, Everwild. So this is something that Xbox has been doing with their studios for a while, and that continues as The Initiative has once again went on another hiring spree. And if you want to talk about some highly talented developers, yeah, they got it. These hires include developers from BioWare, Naughty Dog, Insomniac, and Crystal Dynamics. In fact, they even picked up the game director for Shadow of the Tomb Raider, so that's a key position. And this is to support the already very talented team that includes the Red Dead Redemption writer and designer, as well as the producer for the most recent God of War game. To top it all off, the head of the studio, Daryl Gallagher, has had a lot of success with rebooting Tomb Raider, so without a doubt this is quickly becoming a studio that you may want to pay attention to. Now the question is, what are they working on? And that remains a mystery to this day. We do have a few key hints though. Back in January of 2020, Phil Spencer did say that they are challenging themselves to do new things and old things in new ways. This is why many do believe it will be a reboot of an already existing franchise. There was even a job listing that claimed that there would be weapons, gadgets, and a camera surveillance system, which narrowed it down just a tad more, and that's really when rumors started to circulate that this could possibly be a new Perfect Dark reboot, though that still is not confirmed. Now, Alana Pierce back in 2019 did say that she had heard the Coalition and an unnamed studio was working on a Perfect Dark game, so The Initiative could be that studio. What I find interesting though is if you look at some of their most recent hires, most do have experience with third-person shooters. Now Perfect Dark has to this point been a first-person shooter, but this is just me. If it is indeed a new Perfect Dark game, which I'm still not convinced it will be, I would actually prefer they do a third-person shooter. I think you could make a very cinematic experience out of Perfect Dark with a lot of gameplay elements including stealth gameplay, which we really don't see much of anymore. And this will be a completely new experience compared to the old Perfect Dark games. In fact, it would be pretty much a new IP for most fans playing, and I'm excited to see what this game actually is. Luckily, I don't think we're going to have to wait too long. Head of Xbox Studios Matt Booty did allude to hearing more about the initiative sometime this year, and I think there is a real possibility that will take place at the next big Xbox event. I will ask you though, are you hoping this is a Perfect Dark game, or would you like to see a completely new IP from the initiative? Let me know in the comments below. On to our last topic though, those rumors of a new Nintendo Switch coming in 2021 really do seem to be more and more likely by the day. So Bloomberg posted a report that yes, a new Nintendo Switch is being planned for 2021, and people close to the situation are saying it's going to be a 4K device. Now don't expect this to be 4K in handheld mode, but instead it will likely be 4K docked, but that still is very exciting. As for handheld mode, we aren't getting much information right now, but based off of the Taipei report from yesterday, it did say that it would include improved display quality. So what I'm thinking here is that at the very least, they're going to try and make sure all handheld games run at least 720p. We have to remember that a lot of games are still struggling to run 720p in handheld mode, so that could be a good solution here. Now maybe they can push that up to 1080p as well, but we need to see more about this upgrade first. One thing about this report that really caught my eye though was not just with the hardware, but also Bloomberg stated that people close to the situation are saying that this new Switch device will be coupled with or followed by a slew of games from Nintendo themselves and related to outside studios. So that alone is very exciting, because it sounds like Nintendo has some major games planned for this new edition of the Nintendo Switch. The question is what games? There are still a few announced Nintendo games without release dates, such as Breath of the Wild 2, Bayonetta 3, and Metroid Prime 4. So maybe a couple of these games do show up next year alongside this quote-unquote Switch Pro. I'm not really convinced Metroid Prime 4 will be ready for 2021, but wouldn't it be cool for Breath of the Wild 2 to launch side by side with this thing? The original was a launch game for the Switch, so it would be like a full circle with Breath of the Wild 2 doing the same thing. Now there could be some surprise announcements as well, so we can't rule that out completely either. With that said though, this Switch Pro does look like it may actually happen. There is no guarantee until it officially gets announced by Nintendo, so we'll have to wait and see what happens, but I will ask you, if they do announce a 4K Nintendo Switch, will you buy it? And also, what do you think they're going to name this console? Let me know in the comments below. Anyways though, that's it for this episode, but if you liked the video, don't forget the bell notification and subscribe button for more content just like this. Also, if you'd like to support the channel through Patreon, thank you for making this content possible. Peace out.